Welcome to Worthy of Work, the podcast created for all of us who secretly question what is normal in a relationship. My name is Stephanie Rivard, and here we cover the healthy relationship skills no one taught us. When people leave toxic or dysfunctional relationships, they might expect to feel only relief, freedom, space, peace. And yes, you are likely to feel some of that eventually, maybe immediately. But it could surprise you to also start feeling sadness, pain, regret, confusion, doubt, panic. And today's episode, we're going to look at that complicated, complex mix of emotions after leaving and ending a relationship. And what we're going to really lean into is the fact that this is a normal emotions and does not indicate that the decision was wrong. Rather, it indicates that you're human and this is part of changing and healing. So let's dive into that. In fact, I remember the day I left my marital home. I remember driving a 27-foot U-Haul truck through the streets of downtown, navigating my way to some place to buy a secondhand couch because I needed furniture. And I remember crying, tears that were a mixture of joy and peace and sadness and fear. And it was this mixture of emotions. I probably shed a few tears out of gratitude for being a farm girl, knowing how to drive such a huge truck that day. But it was complicated. It was loaded. And I was tempted to believe that those negative emotions meant the decision was wrong, that it was somehow an indication that I was doing the wrong thing. Rather, I've come to know that the grief and sadness that I was experiencing had much more to do with grieving what I had hoped the relationship would be, rather than grieving the actual facts of the relationship, the reality of it. And I had to allow space for that. Allow space for that complex mix of emotions. And I'll give you 3 things that really helped me in that process. I'll share that shortly. And allow space for that, but really root myself in the reality, because it was be tempted to get sucked back into this convincing monologue that I think society tells us. You know, if pain means wrong, well, that's not very helpful, because there's many times that pain means good. Pain means healing. You injure your leg, it's going to be painful to put it back in place so it can be healed. You get a splinter, that'll be painful. And it'll be painful while we take the splinter out. And it'll be tender there until it heals. So pain doesn't mean error. It actually can mean healing and growth. And frankly, even if the relationship was unhealthy, it still shaped you. You still invested in it. You had hopes. You had dreams, you put energy and love, and your body and your spirit and your heart needs time to let that go and to process it. And I just want to be clear today that that is okay. That does not mean you made the wrong decision. That means you're human. Especially in relationships that are codependent or unhealthy attachment. These relationships are particularly complicated to step aside from, because those roots run deep. Your nervous system probably is pretty used to the chaos, the highs and the lows, the drama, the fights, the makeup, and they're used to that. Your body has actually grown familiar to that, and in some ways it feels comfortable. The chaos feels comfortable. So it's not only the end of a relationship and losing the person, it means losing a pattern that your body has become comfortable with. So yes, it hurts. But that pain is detox, not doubt. Grief is the process of accepting loss and kind of reconciling ourselves with a new reality. And I find that I think what people mostly grieve is a dream. I know I'm guilty. Grieving the loss of a dream, what I had hoped for, what I had wanted the relationship to be, what I had hoped my future would look like, an identity of who am I? Now, all of a sudden, that major question seemed to be pending. And I had to grieve the loss of being a married woman and explore this new identity of being a divorced woman. So grieving my identity, grieving the familiarity, the routines, the kind of insider language, the isms of a relationship, even a toxic one. You kind of find a groove. I think I also grieved the sense that I'm losing the person I can reminisce this particular season of life with. And that was a big loss, actually, to lose this person that we have a shared memory together and we can reminisce. And memories are a beautiful gift. And so I grieved that. And that felt like pain. And again, did not mean the decision was wrong. And that's really the dangerous lie right there, that if this was the right decision, then I would feel better. Right? We like to think there's some logic in that. And we just need to debunk that is not a logical mechanism to evaluate our decisions. That is a lie and an unhelpful one, because that's not how growth works. When you outgrow something, and even if you remove that entity, even if it's a toxic entity, there's a void. There's a void there. And it's painful to explore that and to heal that space. Again, just like that sliver, when we take it out, there's a space there that needs to be healed now. And it will be painful for a season. And trust that process. It's okay. And if you don't debunk that lie and embrace this as part of the process, it'll be very tempting to start rewriting the story of what the relationship was like. We start minimizing the details. Oh, it wasn't so bad. Maybe I should have tried again. So we start kind of a doubt, a fantasy. Well, maybe this time it'll be different. And then you'll send a message, you'll return. We know this. We know the pattern. If we think that pain means this is a problem, then we're tempted to come back into this pattern where we conjure up a fake recollection of the facts of the relationship. And so for me, a really important question was, what do I know for sure? In fact, let's look at three things. Three things that helped me move through this pain of loss and enter into kind of the healthy side, to move past it. So number one, you can name the grief. I miss the dream. I miss feeling chosen. I miss who I thought I could be. Name it, whatever it is, name it. Number two, ground yourself in the truth. And again, this was my question. What do I know for sure? What do I know for sure? So I would force myself to look at the facts, recall the facts, recall what I knew for sure. I know that this is the pattern. We've had this fight this number of times. We've had no solutions from those fights. We've had short increments of improvements and then rebound to the previous thing. I know that for sure. And to root myself in that, instead of getting pulled into this fantasy life where this time, because I feel pain today, that might indicate, again, this is fantasy life, that the pain today means I should go back and it will be different. That instead, the step 2 here is to root down into facts. Don't let yourself tell yourself the sad romantic stories about what it could be. that won't help. But trust this process. So number one, name the grief and be specific and just be gentle on yourself. This will take time. 2, stay rooted in the facts. What do you know for sure? And get connected. Number 3 is to connect in a healthy, safe way. So instead of isolating, which would probably feel very tempting right now, connect with someone healthy, a recovery group, a faith community, a therapist, some good friends. Now, if they think you should get drunk and hook up, these are not good friends. You need good friends who are going to be there for you, who are just able to listen or put on a Friends episode or something, but connect, find a healthy connections. I think those 3 steps they really helped. They really helped me through grief and to recognize what grief truly was. Not an indication of error, but part of the process of change. So if you have left a toxic or difficult relationship and you still feel that sadness and grief, please, I just want you to hear this today. It's okay. It is part of the process. And it does not mean that you've made the wrong decision. And one thing you could try doing, instead of asking yourself, well, what does this mean? Should I be going back? Instead, you could ask yourself, what is this grief? What's it teaching me about my values? Maybe it's showing me something that's really important to me, something that I really desire out of my future that I don't have. And I'm missing that absence of what could have been. Can you learn from it? And can you give yourself permission just to feel this as part of the process? Grief is sacred work. And I hope that this episode will just give you more understanding about it and permission to move through it. You'll get through it. I guarantee you there is another side to this. And if this episode has helped you, I would ask you, can you share it with someone? Maybe someone that you know is struggling, or post it on your social media. Maybe the person who needs to hear this has not announced that they need to hear this. So please like, subscribe, and share with others. Thanks. Bye for now. That's it for today's episode. If this resonates with you, please subscribe, share, or leave a review. It helps more people find this work. And remember, I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who once thought dysfunction was pretty normal. I wanted better and learned new tools. And so can you.